Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? Morning. Almost afternoon, I know. So I'm Jaison Greene. I'm a holistic health coach here in New York City and a detox coach as well. And I'm going to talk to you about detox-approved menus. But before I get there, this was me 12 years ago. Now, I didn't think there was anything wrong with going to the bathroom once or twice a week. I was more concerned about my receding hairline than anything else. And through a series of unfortunate family health challenges, I changed my entire perspective on the world. Between 2004 and 2006, my mom died of breast cancer, my older sister died of breast cancer, and my grandmother died at the age of 99. These were my nuclear family. This was my nuclear family up until this point. So without them, I was left to my own devices and very afraid that if cancer ran in the family, I was at risk. So while they were alive, they did lots of alternative health modalities when they were in California. This was in Northern California. And this is before the East Coast really got hip to a lot of these things. So I got exposed to acupuncture, Reiki, Qigong. Detox was one of the things that my mother and my sister tried. I figured if I could try a little bit, maybe it would help me go to the bathroom a little bit easier and lower my risk of cancer. That was really the fear that I had going into this. So I tried everything. I tried just a 7-day basic detox kit that I went to the health food store and bought, and it really opened my eyes to what normal, regular bowel movements were supposed to be like. Once a day is fairly normal, not once a week. So after that, I felt really good, and I was like, well, I'm going to try something else. So I tried a colonic, I tried liver flushes, I tried the Master Cleanse diet, I tried even my own form of chelation, which is getting rid of heavy metals in your system by eating a lot of cilantro over an extended period of time. And all of this led me to what I feel is my simple approach that I use with my clients who are coming to me for a detox for the first time. An over-the-counter leading detox program, which is herbal-based, and I've reviewed close to 40 of these already, and I'm pretty familiar with the ingredients in each one, which ones have the harsh laxatives, which ones have herbs that are more targeted for your liver or for your digestive tract. And I combine that with a whole food, plant-centric diet that really gives people the energy to make it through the 7 days for the first time. A lot of people can't go beyond 14 days if they've never done something like this before in their life. And to get the benefits that you're seeking, you really kind of have to, stick with it as best as possible. So I try to meet my clients where they are and make it easy for them to eat 3 meals a day. They're not necessarily interested in doing a complete juice fast for the first time. I've talked to a lot of people who've tried these juice fasts, and after 2 days, the cravings are so strong and they're so raggedy that they just, they give up. And they don't really start to even see any of the benefits or address any of the imbalances that are going on in their system. So this is my approach in theory. However, when working with clients, things are often a little different. And this is David. He was one of my early clients. He came to me looking to do his detox for the first time. And the things that he wanted to get out of it are pretty common with most people who are looking to feel better. He wanted more energy. He wanted to lose that mid-afternoon brain fog that people get before the end of the day and lunch is long gone. He wanted to improve his digestion. His bowel movements were a little bit more like going a lot in a day and then long stretches where he wasn't going at all. And I wouldn't necessarily characterize this as any kind of autoimmune problem. It could have been through a myriad of things. I'm not a doctor, but I do know that this was one of the issues that he was having. He also wanted to lose a few pounds around the middle, where men tend to gain weight more as they get older. And I was all for it. I felt very confident that I could provide a menu plan for him to eat what I call detox-approved foods, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and dessert, believe it or not, over the 7-day program. There was one small problem, which is that David does not cook. You can't see that there, but he doesn't cook, he's not interested, he doesn't know how, and frankly, that's a fairly common occurrence in a city like New York, where you have prepared food to take out everywhere you turn. So it makes a lot of sense. And it turns out that most of my clients weren't interested in cooking the whole time, if at all. So I'm thinking, well, then how is he going to be able to get his benefits if I can't ensure that he's eating the foods that I really feel are going to give him the best advantage during his short-term detox? So I'm thinking, well, how do I meet him where he is and bring the food nearby where he works in Midtown and then where he lives downtown in the West Village? And that's when I thought, well, there's already something that exists that can actually make it accessible for anybody who has a computer and an internet connection. And so I decided that I would start reviewing restaurants that I felt met the criteria for Detox-Approved near his job and down near his home. And so I signed up for a Yelp account and started eating my way around the city. And it's also a tax break on top of it. So it actually was a win-win situation for me. Now, over time, you know, when I started getting additional clients and they lived in different parts of town, I started organizing my reviews into neighborhood-based lists, which are very easy to do on Yelp. So what you have is, depending on what part of the city that my clients are in, they can go onto Yelp, just search for Detox-Approved, and mine is the only one that has this list. I only have a person that has this list on Yelp. And look for restaurants that are not necessarily always health-centric, like the obvious ones, like, say, Candle Cafe just down the street, or Pure Food and Wine in Union Square. These are restaurants that may not necessarily look like they could have anything in them that would be viable on the outside, but with my criteria of Detox-Approved, which I'll get to in a moment, these restaurants had at least 1 or 2 items on their menu which did fall into that criteria, which would make it possible for my client to go and get something to eat, aside from going to the salad bar at Whole Foods, which is usually the obvious place where people end up. For example, in Murray Hill, I Truly, or Eat Truly, depending on how you pronounce it, is a very standard Italian restaurant. It's been around for a very long time. And I was able to parse out a handful, I'd say 3 or 4 dishes that were not pasta-based, were not cheese-based, were not red meat-based, that fit into the criteria. And what makes this so fantastic is that people who aren't on a cleanse can eat dinner with somebody who is on one, and it's not like they have to have separate, you know, eat in separate quarters altogether. So Eat Truly is an example of a place that's not necessarily what you think of as a health food restaurant, but there are certain items on the menu that fall into that category. Now, what is Detox-Approved? Very straightforward. Things in the yes column fall into the category of Detox-Approved. Things in the no column do not. Now, with people who are doing a detox for the first time, if they're coming from a very hardcore standard American diet, you know, moving to this overnight is not necessarily going to happen. I'm all about crowding out the no's with more yeses over time. So first day may be, you know, 50% yes. Maybe by the 7th day, it's 80% yes. As long as there's progress, it's about being on the journey. It's not necessarily about getting it right or being perfect. The last one on the no column is usually very hard for people who are heavy users of these items. And I just say, you know, if you're smoking, you know, half a pack, go down to a third of a pack and keep it going in that direction. Now, here's another restaurant that's kind of more on trend recently, which is Forager's City Table in Chelsea. And this is what they call it, the farm table restaurant. And it's actually very heavily centered on pork, but I was able to find at least half a dozen items on here that fit into the Detox-Approved menu. And it's a very nice restaurant. It's very trendy. And even if you are, you know, even if you're not on a detox, obviously, you can choose some of these items and still get a healthy meal out of it. You know, now, is the food clean? I mean, I can't guarantee that unless I take it home and cook it and eat it myself. Nobody can do that. But Forager's has a very interesting disclaimer on their menus. And they say that Forager's brings clean and ethical food of the highest quality to our customers by shortening the distance between farm and fork. And I believe with a disclaimer like that, you're probably erring on the side of good. So that is Detox-Approved menus on Yelp. Have a wonderful summer, everybody.